Alrighty, PG-13. This is G.I. Joe, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Snowcat and the Cobra Wolf. Now, the Snowcat did come with driver frostbite, and this was a nice little vehicle. It did seat two, and well, it did have, I guess, enough pegs that you could, bring more figures to the battle. However, they'd freeze to death. So the figure would fit in there, not too bad. And, this had a wiper. It does have lights, but the lights didn't light up. And it did have 6 missiles. You guessed it. That was one of the things that a lot of vehicles ended up having in the G.I.Joe universe, was the 6 missiles. But, one of the bad parts about this design was that once you've spent all your missiles, you had no other way to defend yourself. And I thought, 1985, you think they would have developed a better missile launcher. This missile launcher is quite fragile. And I'll show you another thing here. This does snap. That is the fragile part. And, so you're trying to get these missiles out and so it's very cumbersome. Now, they did make other designs that were way better, but yet they still only had the missile launcher. But the missile launcher was a click-in, so you could click missiles in. So that was a better design, but it's also fun to pull them out yourself. But nah, this one was very cumbersome, so it wasn't the best design for a Snowcat. It is a cool looking, like, half-track vehicle type thing, but after you spent your missiles, well, you didn't really have too much. Now, there is little handles that your figures can try to grip while holding on to the back. But again, it does have a tow hitch, and it's it's got some foot pegs on the back and a few foot pegs on the side, so you have, I guess you couldn't have your ski missile on here. Your ski torpedo. Ski torpedoes away. Anyways, the answer to 1985 was 1987. Now, in 1987, we got the awesome Cobra Wolf. And, I do have my Wolf pack. So I do have 5 of these. I'm missing 1 ski for 1. So I still have to try to look for that part. Shouldn't be hard to find. And I'll just check out the local collectible store to see if I can find that part. Now, this only comes with 1 driver. The Ice Viper. And the Ice Viper actually looked like a Ninja Viper. So I always used him as a ninja. And he did come with sides. And I do have an example of those right here. So he came with 2 sides that fit in his side here. And these are commonly lost, so they're hard to find. I only have 1 pair for 6. I do have 6 Ice Vipers, and they are fantastic figures. However, I still might need to get 1 more helmet. So this also seated 2, and it also had, you guessed it, 6 missiles. Now, in this design, you could fire them off. These missiles do kind of click, or you can try to push them in a little so they don't slide forward while the vehicle's moving. So it's not too bad, but anyways, so after you spent all your missiles, this design was better because they did have a laser cannon, and they do have their ski torpedoes 1 and 2. Uh-oh, this one's broken. I'm gonna have to look for another replacement. So again, you have to watch for that. But I do have all the other ones that are not broken, so I think this was the one that I picked up, which is not too bad because the canvases are intact. Again, another flaw on these is the canvases, this little tabs will break off, so you'll have a loose canvas cover. But, this wasn't too bad of a design. However, yes, however it is, I hated the discs. These kind of wheels suck. But this does fold under and clicks into here, so you can just use the skis if you just wanted. But again, some of the stuff might be fragile, and it is a hollowed out vehicle underneath. So, you know, there is kind of some drawbacks to this vehicle. And, you know, sometimes this will snap. Well, depends. But overall, I do love the design. I just wish the wheels were made better, like a bell-shaped type wheel. Now we're going to take the Snowcat right off of here, because the wolf is howling. Oh! So the wolf was one of my favorite vehicles to use outside in the snow. And you did have these skis that come off, so you could fit your figures on here and they could ski into battle. So it was kind of neat. I did love that part about this awesome wolf. Now in Canada it kind of sucks because, you know, we're about to get hammered. You know, when all other countries are preparing for war, our economy is about to get trashed. And I'm going to explain why and how. Now, a lot of companies might fold up and move to the States because of this carbon tax that they're throwing on to the population. And sure, they tell you, oh, you're going to get a certain amount back. So, say for example, Manitoba is going to cost you $2,000, and you're going to end up getting back $1,000. And you know, that's all fine and good. You want to take my money? Well, then I'm not going to support fast food restaurants, because that extra money that I would spend would go to, you know, maybe some fast food places. So I guess, you know, it is what it is. We're screwed until the next election. But that brings me to another point. In all these other countries are preparing for a real war because, you know, China said they're going to war. And what's going to happen in Canada is, because we don't have really much defenses here, much of an army, much of a military, we're going to be invaded by Russia and China. We don't even have the Americans' missile defense shield like we once used to. So if Canada doesn't get a missile defense shield back from the States, then we're pretty much toast. And if we're not going into a wartime footing, then we're screwed. So, you know, if you're going to take my money from carbon tax, at least use like $500 from everyone in Manitoba to go towards building factories and to get on a wartime footing, because, you know, we don't even have reserves much for like ammunition, and we don't even have really a military left. So if we don't have a military built up in the next little while, a year or so, we're screwed. And you can thank your politicians. It doesn't matter which party it is. All the parties are the same if they're not building a military to protect Canadians. You know, you want to talk about this carbon crap? Well, you can't stop volcanoes. Yes, you can do stuff to, you know, help curb flooding and stuff like that. But like wildfires is just a natural disaster. And all these effects are a cause of nuclear testing. So if you can't stop the countries that are firing off nuclear missiles for testing, then that's the main cause of this climate change. The effects are exactly the same as they've stated in those videos for nuclear fallout. You know, you get hotter summers or colder winters because nuclear fallout goes in the stratosphere, whatever you want to call it, and blocks out the sun, or, you know, traps in the heat. So that's what the effects are from nuclear winter. But anyways, I've stated my point and case. You know, I love making G.I. Joe videos. So this carbon tax is going to rob me of $1,000 a year, so I just won't be eating out as much. And that's going to hurt a lot of businesses. And we're going to lose a lot of businesses because the economy might even collapse over this. And, you know, you want to try to change people's behaviors by putting this behavior tax, because that's what it is. They even stated that it's a behavior tax. So anyways, if you're going to bring in electric cars, then they have to be cheap, and the batteries have to be able to withstand a winter, and the charge times have to be the same as fuel times. I mean, who wants to sit somewhere for like a few hours or have their battery charge don't last long. Anyways, the whole green idea is great, but in reality, it's not going to prevent World War III. So if you want to live with your head in the sand I don't care if you're the military, police, or RCMP, or a politician. When the communists come over, they'll put a bullet in all of our heads. It doesn't matter who you are. Basically, they usually end up killing most of the males first, so I guess we're all in that category. So anyways, if we're not doing anything to defend our country, I don't care if you want to take my money, then use it to, upgrade the military right now. You don't have 2 years. They could go off at any time. They could make world war at any time. They could say, oh, we're going to attack in 2027, but maybe they'll attack next year. Maybe they'll attack this year. You don't know when the communist attack will come, but it will come. And maybe they might say, oh, well, maybe it's 27, but then they don't. Maybe they wait a year or two. You never know. But the whole point of the fact is we don't have defenses to defend against this massive communist attack. And yes, they will come from the Arctic and cut Canada in half. I've seen that in a vision. So hopefully my visions don't come true. And hopefully Canada can wake up and get that missile shield defense system back from the United States. Because at least then that gives us some sort of a defense. But in the meantime, we need to be on a wartime footing. And you can put the carbon crap on pause, or you can just call it a wartime tax and use that money to build factories and start producing tanks and drones and whatever else we need to defend against these communists. Because unless you are an acting communist, they're still going to put a bullet in your head. Because anyone that'll betray their own country for to appease China, well, they're just going to kill you anyways. So you better wake up. Our time is running out, and I hope everybody enjoys the videos, but the facts are the facts. Like, they said they're going to war. North Korea going to war. Iran will go to war. Russia is already at war, and that could turn into World War III at any time. So again, build their factories now, have those completed, and start stockpiling now. We don't know if we have a year. We don't know if we have 2 years. We don't know if we have 5 years. But the point is, if you make a deterrent, then they'll think twice about trying to attack Canada. And if we don't do anything to deter the communists, they'll just walk right over us and slaughter us by the millions. So now, I don't hate people. I don't hate communists, but I don't like the fact that they're going to come and kill you or kill me or slaughter our families. So it's just a given. That's what happens when communists go into other countries. You've seen Cambodia, you've seen what happens. So Justin Trudeau or Pierre Poilievre or Jagmeet Singh, wake up. If you don't do anything about what's coming down on us, then you are to blame, and you will share the same fate as the rest of us. And you think you can hide in a bunker? We won't even have time. We'll just get nailed. I mean, they got these hypersonic missiles. If we don't get any, we're screwed. So maybe we could buy some from India or make our own. But in the meantime, I'm still going to keep on collecting. And when the war comes, it'll come. There's nothing you can do to prevent it. A carbon tax is not going to prevent a war. It's not going to prevent a volcano from erupting. And it's not going to prevent lightning from causing fires. So anyways, it is a nuclear effect. So if you can ban or stop these countries from testing nuclear weapons, then that'll help the environment. And I'm all for the environment, but at the